Hey everyone, my name's Walter, and we're back here once again to talk about Neckbeards. I covered the first part of the story yesterday. I will be linking to the first one in the description if you haven't seen it yet, but you should probably watch it. Neckbeards are those gentlemen who like to stroke their beard as they move the Bible to the fiction section. Although the guy from this story is a Christian and doesn't have a beard, as far as I know, they're not exactly all the same. But they are all nerdy, and if they're in one of my videos, it usually means they were creeping on a girl. Anyway, let's just begin with more Reddit Neckbeards. This is part 2 of Iowabeard. When we last left off, Iowabeard has just brazenly asked out the author right in front of her boyfriend, after watching them date for over a year. Also, this guy is definitely real because people dug up his fanfiction. Here he is now. Chill out, Neckbeard. I am not a Neckbeard! Iowabeard wasn't done yet. He exploded at Nathan, accusing him of stealing his queen from him. After all, he liked me first. Need I remind you that Nathan and I had been together since before Iowabeard even came to the state, let alone the school? A teacher told him to calm down or he would get detention. He blew up at this teacher and proceeded to summarize his version of what happened. This backfired, causing him to get another detention. He stormed off while declaring him and Nathan mortal enemies and that their war would not end until he won me over. That year we had an English class with this amazing teacher. Let's call him Mr. Williams because he sounded and acted a lot like Robin Williams. This guy was great. He was one of those teachers that lived for his job, so he was extra motivated to make sure that every student succeeded. That, and he said time and time again that he knew some people in his class had a passion for reading and/or writing, so it was up to him to encourage those people to pursue their goals. Everyone loved Mr. Williams, except Iowabeard. Apparently, over that summer, he had taken to writing fanfiction. He never posted it anywhere, but he had a lot of it on file. He wrote a fair few stories and had printed them all off, constantly bragging that he was going to get them published, then become the most famous fanfiction author in the world. That's not how it works, and that's breaking a ton of copyright laws, but whatever. Anyways, he gave one to Mr. Williams early on in the school year, asking him what he thought of one of his finest masterpieces. I wasn't there to prove it, but as Iowabeard himself said, Mr. Williams attacked his writing, so Iowabeard lashed out to defend himself. Really, knowing Mr. Williams, what really must have happened was that he had a few suggestions on how to fix the spelling and grammar, and Iowabeard didn't take it well. That's how I see it. From that day forward, Mr. Williams became the next addition to Iowabeard's enemy list. He would badmouth Mr. Williams in front of anybody he saw, accusing him of academic harassment. He also would crank his bad grade tantrums up to 11 with Mr. Williams, likely believing that he was going through some kind of impressive anime transformation while he was doing it. Mr. Williams, being the saint he was, offered Iowabeard after-school help on his writing, which his parents forced him to attend. It didn't make much difference though, he still basically wrote gibberish. The flirting increased too. Time and time again he would walk in between me and Nathan, openly admitting to trying to split us up. Only he would describe it as saving you from this unfitting and abusive relationship. Fear now, you shall be with your true man soon. Each time he said something like this, I held back vomit, while Nathan stared daggers at Iowabeard. Periodically, he would thrust these fanfictions into my or Nathan's laps. To me, these were apparently weapons of mass seduction that were to be used to win over his future bride. To Nathan, these were threats, being used as a way to intimidate Nathan because he was going up against such a talented writer. Surprisingly, these epic tales never succeeded in their primary purpose. So he's like, oh, I'm blatantly trying to steal your girlfriend and I hate you, but check out my cringy fanfiction. I have never seen someone so intent on being bullied. Now we get to 9th grade. This was the point where things got really, really bad. Iowabeard began getting super interested in sexuality. More than usual, that is. Maybe it was to cope with his brother enlisting in the Navy. Maybe it was because Mr. Williams got a job as the 9th grade English teacher and Iowabeard was forced to handle his academic abuse yet again. Don't know, don't care. But he started getting dangerous. While I remained his booty queen or super bottom of choice, he still lusted after every girl in our grade, growing increasingly obvious with his staring and drooling. He even reached out to touch them sometimes, which never ended well for poor Iowabeard. That wasn't the only major development. You know those fanfictions he wrote? Well, now he started publishing them for all to see. That's right, now the whole world could easily go onto the web and see all of Iowabeard's craziness on full display. At first they were horrible, but somewhat readable. As time went on, however, more and more people found his fanfiction account and began to give his stories negative reviews. The main criticisms were horrible spelling, being unfaithful to the source material, having a super boring writing style, being racist, sexist, homophobic, etc., and having egregious spelling errors. This didn't sit well with Iowabeard. I am really wondering just how racist, sexist, and homophobic someone could be in their fanfiction and why. I will definitely go check it out when I'm done with this story though. People are usually nicer than fanfiction authors deserve in reviews in my experience, so this guy must have really been something. He accused Nathan of sending an army of trolls, bullies, and haters to his fanfiction page. Naturally, Nathan just laughed this off. So Iowabeard decided to tell the whole school about this, which only caused more people to find out about his laughable stories, which then made him angrier. Rinse and repeat several times over. Perhaps the worst consequence of this was that Nathan, the very person these stories were supposed to intimidate, was unable to stop reading them. The very day one was posted, he would call me up and give me a dramatic reading of his own. I never found them too funny, but it was nice to hear him having fun. Besides, he's got a cute laugh. Things got out of hand when some YouTubers got a hold of these fanfictions and started doing dramatic readings of them, typos and all. This caused Iowabeard to snap, vowing revenge on those people. So he decided to write them into his story as villains, and they would systematically be killed off. I only know this because of those readings that Nathan would give me. When an overweight, sex-starved maniac with a god complex who goes to your school writes stories about killing YouTubers, that tends to stick with you. Once again, these threats didn't have any effect. The YouTubers and the fanfictions didn't notice. To him, this must have been an indication that he could put whoever he wanted in these stories with no consequences. I think you all know where this is going. Yeah, I'm starting to see why the author compares him to Chris Chan. Iowabeard did a lot of one-shot fanfictions, rarely ever writing one with a second chapter. However, he did have one lingering story on his page. It was the ongoing saga of Batman and Iowabeard's self-insert, who would go around Gotham City, often misspelled Gotham City, killing the various assortment of baddies that were either in the comics or were Iowabeard's own creations. These were all standard self-insert fare. The self-insert was the smartest, strongest, most skilled, and most intelligent guy around, while everyone else was a bumbling idiot who basically worshipped the ground the self-insert walked on. Nathan seemed to like these the best, as they were basically Iowabeard's literary masturbation. However, they wouldn't always be funny. One time he was reading one of the fanfictions to me over the phone, then went dead silent. I asked him what was wrong. What he said next caused me to freeze. That psycho wrote you into this story. No, that can't be right. He wouldn't. I thought to myself, how foolish I was. He could and did. There was a character with my name, had my physical description down to the tiniest detail, and was in an abusive relationship with a boy named Nathan who beat her day in and day out. I was mortified. He wrote me as a living sex doll. Not 10 sentences could go by without some character or the narrator talking about my butt, or how Iowabeard's OC and I were destined for each other. Keep in mind, this wasn't something he sent me. Oh no, this was on the internet. The very visible internet. People were seeing this, likely people we knew. Luckily, those who reviewed it were not too kind, so at least there's that. It didn't stop there. He was also writing the Super Smash Bros. Fanfiction that was supposed to be the longest in history. He succeeded with this, but only by spamming the phrase, "Praise Jesus," for over 100 chapters. Back to the point. He wrote me in again. This time as Peach, still making constant references to my butt, and how Iowabeard's self-insert was hoping to marry me and give me married butt love. This is horrifying. For reference, the longest piece of literature in human history is already a Smash Bros. Fanfic, so he's not being the most creative person in the world here either. I had it with him. Luckily, by the time he posted that, sophomore year was about to start, so I only had to wait until then to confront him. A few days before school started, he posted one of his English papers as a fanfiction, using it to attack Mr. Williams on a public website. Few people read it, and nobody sided with him. I guess he did this to celebrate that he would no longer have Mr. Williams as a teacher or something? His motives remain unclear to this very day. When confronted about what he did, he remained unapologetic. To him, it was a great honor to be written into one of his stories, let alone multiple. I bothered him about it for days, and he wouldn't give up. Finally, after school one day, while he was waiting to be picked up, I cornered him. I said something along the lines of this. Listen here, you fat, smelly slug. If you don't stop writing me and Nathan in your stories, I'm going to make you miserable. I know your parents don't know what you say about me or what you write. I could easily show them. Get it through your head already. I don't love you. I don't even like you. I love Nathan. I want nothing to do with you or your fetish-fueled garbage. He looked like he was about to cry, but I showed no pity. Normally I'm that sweet girl who wouldn't hurt a fly. This time was different. Iowabeard has pushed me too far. I had to act. I had to stop him. Yes, I know. I should have told my parents. Or his parents. Or somebody about what he was writing. I felt like I could have handled it on my own. I felt like I was strong enough to withstand the storm of Iowabeard's advances. Now I know different, but more on that later. Okay, the story is too long to finish in this video, so we're going to cut it off here. I do have a few more things to say though. Iowabeard has been all over Reddit doxing the author, and he has also now created his own subreddit where he's the only member, but a few dozen people are gawking at him. Reddit Super Bottoms. A community dedicated to those who admire the ample feminine backside we call the super bottom, designed in wholesomeness for good, honest admirings. I feel like wholesome is not the word I'd use for this guy. But this is the place where he posts characters like Minerva Mink from Animaniacs, Applejack from My Little Pony, and holy shit, Gloria from Madagascar. They weren't kidding. Just make sure you don't post any men, cause no gays allowed. Wow, this kid is a hoot. Anyway, let's look at a few posts. We'll come back to the story tomorrow. These posts come to us from Reddit Just Neckbeard Things. Fun fact, I carry 2 knives on my hip at all times. Being skilled at knife fighting is an essential skill when things hit the fan and you don't have your sidearm. Someone told me that they could tell I was extremely secure in myself to carry them. Didn't think about that. Yeah, skilled at knife fighting. Sure hope he listed that on his dating profile too. This next guy is even manlier. A ton of the attractive girls I went to high school with got married within the past few years, and I only graduated in 07. They think they can get away with this? I had the world to offer them, and then they run off with these pussy-sensitive espresso beta males. I can't even begin to express the depths of my resentment. You know, I was in the class of 05. This guy's almost as old as I am, and that's how he's posting. Anyway, that's about all the time I have for you today. Thanks for watching, everyone. If you liked the video, please leave a like. If you have something to say, be sure to let me know in the comments, because, you know, the algorithm or whatever. Also, make sure you yell at me to finish this tomorrow, so I actually get off my ass and work for once. If you're new here and want more, consider subscribing. It will help me hit 10K, and there will be some kind of a special for that. Big thanks also to my generous patrons. They're currently helping me out a lot. This story is insane, by the way. The author might be here if you ask any questions. I can't speak for her, but she did show up in the comments of the last one. Have a great day, everyone, and enjoy your time over on Reddit Super Bottoms.